Today we're going to go through the Groundhog Day analysis, kind of picking back up where we left off yesterday with the exception of pre-production and some VHS media distribution stuff. I do want to say really quick, I got worms. Let me finish. I got worms requested Groundhog Day as well. Yes, that's right. I got worms. Is a viewer said, really love your content. I've had trouble getting to sleep for a long time now. My bro recently suggested ASMR. I checked out a couple of vids and almost gave up until I found your channel. Thank you. Also, my request is Ghostbusters or Groundhog Day or Bill Murray. I guarantee we're going to get to all of those in due time. And so yeah, now we're on Groundhog Day part 2, technically, where we're going to go over the analysis portion. And thank you very much, by the way. I got worms for the kind words. I appreciate you. Okay, analysis. Time loop duration. The duration of Phil's real-time entrapment in the time loop has been the subject of much discussion. Ramis once said that he believed the film took place over 10 years. When a blogger estimated the actual length to be approximately 9 years, Ramis disputed that estimate and his own. Ramis disputed that estimate and his own. Okay, he replied that it takes at least 10 years to become good in an activity such as Phil learning ice sculpting and to speak French, and allotting for the downtime and misguided years he spent, it had to be more like 30 or 40. Yeah, and I would say that's kind of accurate. There's kind of a 10,000, this is me talking, by the way, I'm not reading right now. There's that 10,000 hours of mastery rule. I don't know if you've heard about it, that seems to kind of hold true for many disciplines where you want to be a professional at something, you want to actually master something, you got to put in 10,000 hours. Anyway, a similar estimate suggests that it takes are you kidding me? How about I just shut my mouth next time and continue reading? A similar estimate suggests that it takes at least 10,000 hours of study, just over a year's worth of time, to become an expert in a field. And given the number of loops seen or mentioned on screen, and how long Phil could spend per day studying, that Phil spent approximately 12,400 days, or nearly 34 years, trapped in the loop. In Rubin's original concept draft, Phil himself estimates that he has been trapped for between 70 and 80 years, having used books to track the passage of time. Born to a Jewish family, Ramis had adopted a Buddhist lifestyle from his second wife, embracing some of its precepts. I've never heard that word before, I like it. He said that based on Buddhist doctrine, it takes approximately 10,000 years for a soul to evolve to the next level. In 2005, Rubin said it became this weird political issue because if you asked the studio how long was the repetition, they'd say 2 weeks. But the point of the movie, to me, was that you had to feel you were enduring something that was going on for a long time. For me, it had to be, 100 years, a lifetime. In his book Groundhog Day, Ryan Gilby thought the vagueness surrounding the length of the loop was one of the most remarkable elements of the film. Just as there is no justification for why or how Phil is caught in the loop, the length of time is only as long as it takes for Phil to become a better person. Thematic analysis. The film has been interpreted in many ways by different groups. Rubin has said that he did not set out to write the film as a spiritual analogy. He simply wanted to tell a story about human life and periods in it where a person becomes trapped in a cycle no matter how much they want to escape. He said it was not just about a man repeating the same day, but a story about how to live, whose life isn't a series of days, who doesn't feel stuck from time to time. In the bowling alley scene, Phil asks 2 Punxsutawney residents if they understand what it is like to be stuck in a place where nothing they do matters. He is referring to his own trapped situation, but the 2 men, though not trapped in their own loop, know exactly what he means. While Rubin and Ramis discussed several of the philosophical and spiritual aspects of the film, they never intended to be anything more than a good, heartfelt, entertaining story. Murray saw the original script as an interpretation of how people repeat the same day over and over because they are afraid of change. Rubin added that at the start of the loop, it is the worst day of Phil's life. By being forced to change who he is, to embrace the world around him, and each moment of his day, it becomes the best day of his life, the day he falls in love. In a 2017 interview, Murray said he believed Groundhog Day still resonated because it is about the idea that we just have to try again. It's such a beautiful, powerful idea. Rubin has been contacted throughout the years by different experts providing their own interpretations. It has been seen as a Christian allegory, with Punxsutawney Phil representing Jesus Christ, an example of the Nietzschean concept of the eternal return, the spirit of Judaism, and the essence of homeopathy. It has also been interpreted as an adaptation of the Greek mythological figure Sisyphus, who is also condemned to an eternal daily punishment. Others have found significance in the numbers present in the film. Was Sisyphus the rock? Did he have to push the rock eternally up the hill? Am I thinking of the same guy? Hey, there's the rock. Yep. Perfect time. We got some traffic behind us. It subsided. Never mind. Okay, others have found significance in the numbers present in the film. Ramis himself was fascinated by Rubin's original draft and its concepts of reincarnation. The date of Groundhog Day also has implications. It is set between the end of winter, characterized in the film as a period of satire, and the endings of things, and spring, a season represented by comedy and connected with themes of renewal and redemption. I don't know why I looked at you when I said and redemption. Come on. And redemption. Buddhist leaders commended the representation of the ideologies of regeneration. Phil can be interpreted as a bodhisattva, someone who has reached the brink of nirvana and returns to earth to help others to do the same. In the Jewish faith, Phil's escape or reward can be seen as him being returned to earth to perform moral deeds, or mitzvot. It's mitzvot. The precepts and commandments of God. In Christianity, his journey can be interpreted as a form of resurrection or a means of securing a place in heaven. In Falun Gong religious philosophy, the film has been interpreted as a message that the spiritual self cannot evolve until it learns from past mistakes. In Catholicism, Phil's situation can be identified as a form of purgatory, escaped only by embracing selflessness. McDowell said, "Wouldn't it be great if we had that kind of experience and learn something from it? We go through life and are not always conscious of it. Whatever religion you want to base yourself in, that's ultimately why we're here." Groundhog Day, and I may agree with that. Groundhog Day can also be interpreted as a secular tale in which Phil is experiencing an existential crisis where primal indulgences are no longer satisfying, causing him to fall into a depression that he escapes by taking ownership of his own self-improvement. He then uses his improved persona to benevolently help others. There we go. Phil initially compares himself to a god, declaring that as a weatherman, he makes the weather. After several loops, he comes to believe he is a god, asserting that omnipotence may be mistaken for having lived so long one simply knows everything. Very cool. Using his knowledge, he is able to manipulate events in his favor. The repetition gives Phil an opportunity to escape from his own narcissistic self-confinement. Unwilling to change himself, the means to do so are forced upon him. After constant rejection by Rita and his idea of love, Phil hits an emotional low and repeatedly commits suicide. At one point, he suggests that he has killed himself enough times to no longer exist. It is at this point Ramis suggests that Phil becomes ready to change. I thought it was an airplane. It is only when Phil stops using the loops to indulge his own desires and instead uses them to selflessly help others that he is freed. In repeatedly failing to save the old homeless man, Phil is also forced to accept that he is not a god. Similarly, regardless of how much knowledge he gains about Rita, and despite his accomplishments learned through the loops, he is unable to impress her enough to earn her love. That is also a shared sentiment and writing mechanism in Bruce Almighty. Remember the line between Jim Carrey and Morgan Freeman? How do you make someone love you? And Morgan Freeman says, "Welcome to my world," right? He wins her over only once he stops trying to do so, when he demonstrates genuine care for helping others without fakery or self-interest, knowing that the day will likely reset and it will have all been for naught. Only then does Rita return his affections. The aspects of Rita that Phil mocked at the start of the film have become qualities he admires and respects, and in turn, Phil receives Rita's love not because he deserves. I'm butchering this line. It's a very nice line. I'll start it over. The aspects of Rita that Phil mocked at the start of the film have become qualities he admires and respects, and in turn, Phil receives Rita's love not because he desires it, but because he has genuinely become the type of person that Rita could love. This demonstrates the redeeming power of love, something Ramis wanted to emphasize. For him, Groundhog Day represents having the strength and knowledge to make a change when faced with the opportunity to repeat previous mistakes. Rick Brookhiser argues that it is because Phil fully appreciates every facet of the day that he is rewarded by the day being taken from him. He said, loving life includes loving the fact that it goes. John Seaman said that where other films use memory as a means of reflection or escape, Phil effectively lives within his memories, repeating them indefinitely. He has no hope for a future because everything will reset. By remembering and appreciating new details, Phil is able to grow as a person and become the agent of his own change. Rubin said Phil will not return to his old ways after his experiences, but might suffer disappointment that no day will ever live up to his final perfect February 2nd, after which he essentially loses his superpowers. Well, there was the analysis. There is a legacy as well, and you know what? A critical assessment, legacy, cultural impact, adaptations, and that's it. You know what? I think we could probably make this an official part 2, especially since I see Tim Minchin down there, who is awesome. So let's go ahead and do it. I'll read the whole thing out. I just gotta wait for an airplane. Legacy. Groundhog Day is considered one of the most beloved comedy films ever made, an all-time classic, and a pop culture touchstone. In 2020, Paste described it as having a mythic, permanent pop cultural status reserved for few films. The film's success made Ramis a credible comedy director, opening up more creative opportunities for him. Over the rest of the 90s, he would direct 96's Multiplicity, also starring McDowell, 99's Analyze This, and 2000's Bedazzled. Groundhog Day also showcased Murray's capabilities as an actor, changing perceptions of him as a comedian to a broad-range actor and credible romantic lead. His performance is seen as a transitioning point to later roles in serious films like Rushmore, his Academy Award nominated performance in Lost in Translation, fantastic movie, and Moonrise Kingdom. Rubin started a blog in 2007 that featured fictional conversations between himself and Phil Connors, who had since retired to live on a mountainside near Taos, New Mexico. Rubin taught screenwriting at Harvard University for several years. Fascinating. Its impact on Woodstock and Punxsutawney was lasting and significant. Since the film's release, Woodstock has hosted its own Groundhog Day festivals. These have included Groundhog, Woodstock, Willie, screenings of the film, and walking tours of filming locations. The town attracts approximately 1,000 tourists for its yearly event, which has featured appearances by Albert, Rubin, and Tobolowsky. Punxsutawney, which once drew only a few hundred visitors to its festival, has since attracted tens of release, over 35,000 people visited the town for Groundhog's Day. Residents appreciate the film's impact on the town, but assert that their focus remains on Punxsutawney Phil and the long-lived festival. In Woods, come on, the vendors have to be going nuts there, dude, right? The headline should be Groundhog Day is the film that brought funnel cake to Punxsutawney. In Woodstock, plaques are positioned at key locations used in the film, commemorating moments including Phil meeting Ned, the pothole in which Phil trips, and the town square pavilion where Phil and Rita share a dance. As of 2016, Rubin continued to receive mail from fans, philosophers, and religious leaders. Their content ranged from simple leaders to sermons and dissertations. He has spoken of psychiatrists who recommend the film to their patients and addicts who have told him that it helped them realize they were trapped in a repeating cycle of their own. And as someone with experience in that is actually how I view it oftentimes when I'm and analyzing the theme as we did earlier in this, I guess you could say. The ability to change a repeating cycle is pretty much at the very core of breaking the addiction cycle, right? Sometime after the film's release, Murray changed his opinion about it. He called it probably the best work I've done, adding that probably the best work Harold will ever do. In 2018, Tobolowsky said, "I think Murray's performance in Groundhog Day will stand as one of the greatest comedic performances of all time. He is able to be both antagonist and protagonist at the same time in the same film. He's everything that's horrible and everything that's wonderful. I think it's going to stand up as long as films are made." All right. Yeah, I agree with that. And also, just while we're still vaguely on the analysis portion, just there, it's a little deep. Skip it if you want to. But to add on to the addiction and to the breaking the cycle, a parallel in Groundhog Day versus other addiction stuff, let's say drugs, for example, drugs, alcohol, whatever it might be, in order to break the cycle in Groundhog Day, he had to, I guess, find the selflessness through the love of another. And a flimsy parallel, I could say, that's helped me break addictive cycles is to literally start not necessarily loving someone else, but something, whether it's going on a fitness kick or it's going on some sort of a financial endeavor or a business thing or a project that I would like to make as a different revenue stream, or just a project in general, even if it's not financially charged. Writing an album, it's something else to love, to actually break the cycle of the thing you were previously in love with. Not shrouded, but disguised as love, which was really addiction. Okay, end rant. Critical reassessment. Groundhog Day is considered one of the greatest films ever made. Rotten Tomatoes assesses a 97% approval rating from the aggregated reviews of 86 critics, with an average rating of 8.1 out of 10. The consensus reads, "Smart, sweet, and inventive." Groundhog Day highlights Murray's dramatic gifts while still leaving plenty of room for laughs. The film has a score of 72 out of 100 on Metacritic, based on 15 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. In 2004, The New Yorker called it Raimi's masterpiece. In 2005, as part of his The Great Movies series, Ebert raised his original score for the film from 3 stars to a full 4 stars. In this updated review, Ebert said that he had underestimated the film and noted that Murray's performance was essential to making the film work. That same year, Jonah Goldberg called it one of the best films of the previous 40 years, positioning it alongside It's a Wonderful Life as one of America's most uplifting and timeless films. This is awesome. I'm glad to be learning this. In 2009, literary theorist Stanley Fish listed it as one of the 10 best American films. He wrote, "The comedy and the philosophy, how shall one live, do not sit side by side, but inhabit each other in a unity that is incredibly satisfying." What? It is listed in the 2013 film reference book 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die, which says Bill Murray gives what may be the best and warmest performance of his career in this genius comedy, arguably the best of the 1990s. The Guardian attributes its lasting appeal to its use of a classic redemption arc like Ebenezer Scrooge in the 1843 novella A Christmas Carol, and its refusal to explain why the loop occurs, making it less like a typical mainstream film. That reminds me, I gotta do a DuckTales reading. In 2000, the American Film Institute, AFI, ranked Groundhog Day number 34 on its 100 Years, 100 Laughs list, recognizing the best comedy films. In 2005, the film's screenplay was listed as the 27th greatest screenplay of the preceding 75 years on the Writers Guild of America's 101 Greatest Screenplays list. In a 2008 AFI poll of 1,500 industry members, Groundhog Day was ranked as the 8th best fantasy film. Oh, fantasy, interesting. That same year, Empire listed the film at number 259 on its list of the 500 greatest movies of all time. In 2014, a poll of 2,120 entertainment industry members by The Hollywood Reporter ranked it the 63rd best film of all time. In 2015, the screenplay was listed as the 3rd funniest on the WGA's 101 Funniest Screenplays list, positioning it behind Some Like It Hot and Annie Hall. Man, breaking records with the legends. In 2017, the BBC polled 253 critics, 118 female, 135 male, from across 52 countries on the funniest films made. Groundhog Day came 4th behind Annie Hall, Dr. Strangelove, and Some Like It Hot. Wow. Several publications have ranked it as one of the greatest comedy films of all time, including number 1 by Empire, number 5 by Time Out, number 10 by Rotten Tomatoes, 11 by IGN, 18 by Paste, 23 by Daily Telegraph, and unranked Film School Rejects and Vogue. Rotten Tomatoes also listed the film number 86 on its list of 200 essential movies to watch. Similarly, it has been ranked as one of the greatest films of the 1990s, including number 4 by IndieWire, 5 by Slate, 11 by Rolling Stone, 12 by Shortlist, 15 by AV Club, 28 by Rotten Tomatoes, 41 by Slant, 55 by British Film Institute, and unranked by Time Out. Man, everyone needs to get their 2 cents in there, huh? Cultural impact. William Goldman in 1993 said, "I think Groundhog Day is the one that will be, of all the movies that came out this year, it's the one that will be remembered in 10 years. The same year, Desson Thompson opined Groundhog will never be designated a National Film Treasure by the Library of Congress. In 2006, the film was selected by the United States Library of Congress to be preserved in the National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant." That should be the ending line of this article, but it's not. Several filmmakers have spoken of their appreciation for Groundhog Day or cited it as an inspiration in their own careers, including David O. Russell, Terry Jones, and Jay Roach. Roach called it the film that changed him. Gillian Waring called it one of her favorite films, Gillian or Jillian, citing its unusual structure and intelligent philosophical message. The film's success helped to legitimize the use of fantasy in mainstream comedy films, laying the groundwork for future fantasy comedies such as Liar Liar and The Truman Show and Click. Excellent, yeah, all of them are excellent. The phrase Groundhog Day has become a common term to reference a repetitive, unpleasant, and monotonous situation. It is recognized by dictionaries under 2 definitions: the holiday itself and a situation in which events are or appear to be continually repeated. The term's use is such that it has been defined as a cliché to refer to a situation in this way. It has been invoked, sometimes inaccurately, by singers, sports stars, comedians, actors, politicians, archbishops, and former Guantanamo Bay detention camp inmates. Oh my god, I could see that. Did they have to say that? That is dark. Then President Bill Clinton referenced the film in a 1996 speech to troops stationed in Bosnia. The term Again with the darkness. The term was used during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic to refer to the monotony of quarantine and isolation associated with attempts to stem the spread of the virus. Let me just see. You know what? That is a lot. I wanted to get to the... almost done. Do I do it? I'm so hungry, guys. I'm trying to bail so I can go eat dinner. That's what I'm trying to do. Alright, I'll do it. I'll hurry up. I think I'm going to eat a bowl of clam chowder. No, I want a sourdough bread bowl with clam chowder where I can get a sourdough boule over here at the bakery and hollow it out and get some really good clam chowder from like Bristol Farms. I think that's what You're still here. I'm gonna... Okay. The narrative concept of someone trapped in a repeating segment of time can be traced back to 1904 and is a popular trope, particularly in science fiction. Groundhog Day was responsible for popularizing the idea to the general public. Time loops have since been used in several films, including Nicken, Source Code, Edge of Tomorrow, Happy Death Day, and its sequel, and Palm Springs. Television shows including Russian Doll, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, and The X-Files, and video games including The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Outer Wilds, and Deathloop. These narratives often involve a central flawed character who must evolve to escape their chronological imprisonment. The influence of Groundhog Day is such that TV tropes refer to this narrative arc as the Groundhog Day loop. Rubin noted that with his script, he stumbled upon a story with all the makings of a classic, so simple and true that it could be retold in many different ways by many different storytellers. It has been referenced across a range of media, including the 1998 novel About a Boy, the music video for the Craig David song 7 Days, and the Doctor Who audio drama Flip Flop. That features a time loop on the planet Punxsutawney. Okay, the Doctor Who episode, gotcha. Writing for IGN, Michael Swaim postulated that since Groundhog Day popularized the time loop narrative, it had increased in mainstream popularity in part due to the Flynn effect, a statement on the increasing IQ of the population that meant audiences could easily follow the more complex narratives and the desire for nostalgia in the postmodern era of the early 21st century. I just sounded very smart there. I'm going to read that over and over again, I think. On February 2nd, 2016, fans of Liverpool, England gathered to watch the film repeatedly for 24 hours. Wow, that's so funny. Since February 2nd that year, apart from 2017, Sky Cinema has played the film on repeat for 24 hours. In 2018, the New York Museum of Modern Art debuted a series of films chosen by polling 35 literary and religious scholars, which started with Groundhog Day. There was conflict between the scholars, as so many of them wanted to write about the film for the presentation. Adaptations. Sorry about the planes overhead, they piss me off too, don't worry. Well, if they piss you off, if not, cool. Yay, yay, planes. A direct sequel was ruled out shortly after the film's release in 1993. Rubin also holds a story credit on the 2004 Italian remake of Groundhog Day called Eggia Ieri, translated as It's Already Yesterday. Sorry if I murdered that. And commonly known as Stork Day. When asked about a sequel in 2018, McDowell said it would never happen because I know Murray. He's not going to do it. Despite this, Murray, Tobolowsky, and Doyle Murray reprised their roles in a commercial for the Jeep Gladiator played during Super Bowl, whatever that number is, LIV. I'm not even going to deal with those numerals. On February 2nd, 2020. Film. What's an L? 1004, is that what it is? Filmed in Woodstock, the commercial recreates scenes from the film and features Murray again trapped in a time loop. He uses the Jeep Gladiator to explore Punxsutawney alongside Punxsutawney Phil. Murray called it his first and last commercial. In April 2020, Jeep released a series of modified versions of the advert to promote social distancing during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. Murray provided creative input on the edit. In the years since the film's release, Rubin had worked on a musical adaptation of Groundhog Day, partly out of boredom and partly because a musical was not covered by the rights he had signed over to Columbia. In 2003, Stephen Sondheim expressed interest in creating a musical project, but this was never realized. When Matthias Warchus and Tim Minchin approached Rubin in 2012, he had already developed a narrative outline, jokes, and a refined list of 12 songs. He had been unable to progress the idea further without a composer. Coming off the success of Matilda the musical, Warchus and Minchin collaborated with Rubin for several years to produce the Groundhog Day musical. The musical debuted August 16th at the August 2016. Sorry, I'm excited, so I'm reading fast. At the Old Vic Theatre in London to generally positive reviews. A Broadway version started running in 2017. The show was nominated in several categories at the 2017 Laurence Olivier Awards, winning Best Actor and Best New Musical. Murray attended a Broadway show in 2017 alongside Doyle Murray and Rubin. A video game narrative sequel was released in September 2019. Groundhog Day, Like Father, Like Son was developed by Tequila Works and published by Sony Pictures Virtual Reality for PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, and HTC Vive. The game casts players as Phil's son, Phil Connors Jr., who has grown up in the shadow of his beloved father. Phil Jr. becomes trapped in his own time loop, and Punxsutawney is forced to help others improve himself to earn his freedom. It received mixed critical reviews. I don't even know what we were reading about that. I was actually still thinking of Tim Minchin. You know what? I'm going to say this. Oh, that wraps up the Groundhog Day article, by the way. Yay, we did it. Tim Minchin is one of my favorite musicians, instrumentalists, composers, lyricists. I'm probably a lyricist first, right? Followed, I'm going to say his ability to write lyrics and his composition and his technical capability as a musician, as a pianist, are all pretty much equal, and they're all equally stellar. The guy is freakishly good. I saw him I was lucky enough to see him at a relatively small venue. I think it was in Anaheim several years ago with my friends. Actually, my best friends were there. Rocket League, Scooter, and Jake. I think we're all there. Maybe some of them weren't there. I know Rocket League was. I think Jake was. Okay. I think I'm gonna change Rocket League's name to Dilbo Smacky Pants. I'm not certain yet. I might, but that doesn't even matter. What I wanted to say was I'm going to start reading about musicians, because I was actually Ed brought it up in the comments. Said to start with the Beatles, and then we started talking more and more about the Chili Peppers and everything. But I think you can tell me in the if you've even gotten this far, if you're one of the few to get this far. What do you guys think about a Weird Al read? If I'm gonna go music, I think I'm gonna start with Weird Al. That's my thoughts on the matter. Yeah. Okay, that's all I got. I'm gonna go eat my chowder, dude. I'm gonna. Oh my God, what time is it? I gotta make sure the bakery's still open. How old do I sound? I sound like a person that would be in the village that Belle from Beauty and the Beast at the beginning. I'm the asshole. She's all singing throughout the town, and I'm the asshole recording stuff, going like, "Oh, I must make it to the bakery before it closes." I don't know why that's what I was thinking. Who goes to the bakery? Am I weird? Bakery for a single bread bowl to use my clam chowder. I'm done. I'm gonna talk to you guys in the comments. Okay. Bye bye. Go to OBS. I'm so glad the quality is better. It makes my day. Okay.